Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we discuss all things financial literacy. Recently, I hit another major milestone. I've been able to consistently generate $50,000 per month for the past 3 months. In my opinion, you need to earn around the same amount for 3 to 12 months before you can call it a reliable average monthly income. Now, I'm only at the beginning of that range, but it's still an accomplishment that's worth recognizing. So in today's video, I'm going to break down how I would hit $50,000 per month guaranteed in 90 days if I had to start over again from the very beginning. And before we get into the details, I want to give you an important disclaimer because a lot of people on YouTube make videos like this, and the advice can sometimes create unrealistic expectations. However, those of you that have been watching me for a very long time, you've seen my entire journey, you've watched me go from zero to where I am today, and I've made a real effort to document my progress honestly. And because of that, I believe that I've built a strong reputation and a certain level of trust here on YouTube. Now, so much of making money has to do with your mindset. Even I recognize that $50,000 per month is a substantial amount of money. That's more than $500,000 per year, but I earned a similar amount last year, and this has only been slightly better. A lot of what I'm going to share with you requires you to give yourself permission to become rich. Not necessarily wealthy yet, but just rich. And what I mean is that you first have to let go of the idea that $50,000 per month is a lot of money, because while yes, it is a lot of money that's relative to the cost of living, you can't afford to think that it's a lot. I've also learned that earning $50,000 per month is as difficult as earning $20,000 per month. And most of the time, you either need to just make a small but important adjustment or simply do more of what's already working. And if I had to pinpoint the hardest part in all this, it's honestly just making your first dollar. So understand that if you can make $1 per month from nothing, you can make $1 million. So before we get into the details, please give yourself permission to make just $1. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. The first thing that I would do if I wanted to reach $50,000 per month is change the information that I consume. I would intentionally surround myself with people who are already earning that amount or significantly more, and I would study how they think, how they make decisions, and how they approach opportunities. Look, guys, in the day and age that we live in, you consume content from these type of individuals all the time. And as strange as it may sound, you need to adopt new ways of thinking, and it often requires you to let go of old beliefs and habits that created your current results. When you consistently listen to people who are operating at a higher level, their way of thinking eventually begins to influence your own. Remember, I said that $50,000 is a lot. That's because the people who I listen to usually are making $1 million or $2 million per month. So in my head, I'm thinking that I'm behind them, so I'm trying to play catch up. And then in turn for you, the more of my content that you watch, especially videos like this, the more that you may start to view money, business, and opportunities the way that I do. And that's not because I'm special. In fact, one of the most important things that you'll learn is that people earning $50,000 per month are not smarter or more talented than anybody else. They're really the exact same. I used to offer one-on-one coachings where I would give people information, templates, guides, and advice that went like far beyond credit or business credit or anything like that. I would share like simple ideas, principles that I believed in, and things that I thought could actually help them become more successful, not just in business, but just life, period. Just become successful overall. And for a long time, I would beat myself up because only a small number of the people that I work with actually produced meaningful results, or at least what I would say is meaningful results. So in the interest of being completely transparent, most people will not follow through on what I'm going to explain in this video. That doesn't mean they're incapable of doing it. I genuinely believe that almost anyone can do this on a fundamental level. Almost everyone has the ability, but the biggest difference usually comes down to your mindset. You can find many of the same strategies, tactics, resources that I discuss in other people that they discuss on the internet. Countless people will go over the exact same information. However, I could personally give the exact same information, the same templates and opportunities to 100 people, and only a small percentage of them would actually use everything consistently enough to see real results. And the reason is that your time horizon, your level of maturity, your relationship with fear, failure, and risk, your confidence, and the belief in yourself. All of these things play a role in determining whether or not you'll take action, you'll remain consistent, and continue moving forward when the results do not appear immediately. immediately. And that's always been my problem with courses or like educational programs, because the information itself is not necessarily the solution or really the problem. The real challenge is getting someone to believe that the outcome is possible for them and helping them develop the mindset required to keep going. So again, in my experience, one of the best ways to overcome that is to consistently consume content from people who are currently achieving the results that you would like to see. And I'm not talking about people who live lavish lifestyles. I'm talking about people who are actually doing something every single day and they're actively working. They're showing you exactly what they're doing. I'm not talking about selling you lifestyle content. The more you expose yourself to the way that these people think, the way that they make a decision, the way they handle setbacks and approach opportunities, the easier it becomes to believe that you yourself can create similar results. And right now, if you're watching this video and you think that I've overstated the conversation about mindset, I understated it. Just trust me, I have not said it enough. It's one of the hardest things for people to overcome. And you'll watch this and you might feel inspired today, but I've woken up every day for almost 3 years and have done the exact same thing. Trust me when I say that takes a very strong mindset to keep doing that. And if you could physically see the way that I feel about $50,000 a month, to me, it really feels like nothing. Like I've barely scratched the surface. And where my mind is and where I'm going, I just see myself being so much further ahead. Recently, I released a video titled "Give Me 19 Minutes and I'll Make You Dangerously Wealthy Using Credit." I'm going to link that video right here. Now, that video was about learning how to think in terms of leverage, and that's exactly what we're going to discuss next. It took me a long time to truly understand leverage and how powerful it can actually be. Now, the man you're seeing on screen right here is Naval Ravikant, and he is an entrepreneur and investor, and he explains that there are 4 primary types of leverage, which are code, media, capital, and of course, labor. Now, let's start with code. Code would include softwares, applications, algorithms, and automated systems that can perform work repeatedly without requiring additional effort from you. Media would include podcasts, books, social media posts, and YouTube videos like the one you're watching right now. And media is one of the main reasons that I'm sitting here creating videos today. Capital is what we discuss on this channel a lot, right? And capital means that you're using money to generate more money through investments, businesses, advertising, equipment, or other income producing opportunities. And finally, labor means that you're having other people perform work for you. Now, the entire purpose of leverage is to produce significantly more output without having to contribute the same amount of additional input. In other words, leverage allows 1 hour of your effort to potentially generate results for days, months, or even years. That is the purpose of leverage. Now, just from saying that, some of you can probably see where I'm going with this right now. The highest leverage activity available to you will typically be the activity that will produce the greatest amount of growth. And now, in today's economy, I believe that producing content is one of the best places for most people to begin. I've discussed the leverage ladder in previous videos, and media is usually the most accessible first step. Think of media as having one conversation that can be shared with an unlimited number of people. Like, I may be sitting here right now at home recording this video, but this conversation can reach thousands or even millions of people around the world. So through media, I can effectively be in thousands of places at the exact same time. And that's why content will be one of the highest leverage activities available to most people, usually because it requires low overhead cost, meaning it really just requires you to have time to put in to make the content. And other than that, you really don't have to spend too much money. You create something one time, but it's able to continue educating people, attracting people, building trust, and generating revenue long after you have already finished creating it. Now, software would come next. However, if you're not naturally a developer or technically inclined, then you probably have no business immediately trying to build complicated software from scratch. Instead, you should focus first on the type of leverage that is most accessible to you. You should also understand that leverage is not limited to building a business. You can use technology and automated systems to improve other areas of your financial life, including your credit. And that's exactly where Rising comes in. Rising is an all-in-one credit improvement platform that not only gives you access to your credit reports and scores, it also shows you what may be hurting your credit, and it also helps you take action. It gives you tools like custom dispute templates, bureau response tracking, and automail features that allow you to mail your disputes directly from the Rising website or the mobile app. Instead of trying to manage everything manually, you can use Rising as your 90-day credit improvement system. And Rising also includes the ability for you to report up to 24 months of rental and utility payment history. This can help you add positive on-time payments and up to 2 years of account age to your credit profile instantly. Right now, you can access your credit report and begin using Rising for $1. It's a 7-day trial. There will be a link in the description for you to check it out. There will also be a clickable link right here on screen. Now, going back to the 4 types of leverage. If you have capital or credit, one of the best ways to use that money is to invest it into your education. Now, if I'm being honest, most of the time people want credit or money so that they can spend it on things that, in my opinion, will not actually help them grow their wealth. Your money, or rather your capital, should help you become more knowledgeable, more productive, and more visible. Like, for example, for all the money that I make per month, you rarely ever see any of that money reflected in my lifestyle. The money either goes to investments or it's reinvested into things that will educate me, or it goes back into things that I can scale and make me more money. And finally, let's go over labor. And labor to me is one of the most important forms of leverage, but I'm going to tell you how in the very beginning, how you should use it. In my opinion, 90% of your operational labor should be handled through AI, software, or automation whenever possible. The remaining 10% should be handled by people with specialized skills that technology just cannot perform at least at a high enough level. Your first hire should be ChatGPT, Claude, or some other AI platform. And if I had to start over today, that's exactly how I would begin building my operation. I would use AI to research, to organize ideas, to improve my writing, develop systems, answer questions, and increase my overall output. You don't need a large team of employees. You need specialized people who can perform specific tasks better than you can. And for me personally, I have a few people with specialized skills who I rely on. Like, one example is my video editor. At this point, I haven't found an AI tool that can handle every part of my video editing process at the level that I require. And sometimes people ask me whether or not these videos that I create are AI, because everything that, we see today, they think is AI, because I don't look directly into the camera anymore. Like, I have a camera here, I have a camera there, I have cameras like all around here. And it's really just the design of my desk from when I moved. I mean, you guys probably noticed I started somewhere, I moved somewhere else. That is the reason, and this just happens to just work for me. All right. And people will ask that because they'll notice some feature like smooth cut. Notice my videos don't jump anymore. There's a feature where it will time lapse everything. So if my hands are moving, you'll see my hands like disappear or something, because it's actually time lapsing the video so that the cuts look smoother instead of cutting and them jumping. That is like really simply it. I'm trying to tell you guys this for a reason, because I want you to understand that even though there's all these different types of leverage, you can't just try to, if it comes to media and you choose to actually produce content, there really isn't a way for you to just generate AI videos. Like, you can't really shortcut this step. I record everything that I do manually. It's hard. I have to talk to text, then I have to actually read it back, then I have to organize it with ChatGPT, and then I put it into a script after I organized all of my thoughts. That way I don't ramble. So the main point is that I use technology whenever it makes sense, but I have to still rely on skilled people with human judgment and expertise to produce better results. Now, understand that at this stage of the process, I'm still setting the foundation. We haven't even reached the actual 90-day plan yet. And before I take action, I need to identify the activities that will give me the greatest amount of leverage. Now, once I determine those activities, then I'll commit myself to executing them at the highest level possible. So if I were starting over, I would begin the same way I originally started, by publishing an absurd amount of valuable content. And I definitely wouldn't pick credit this time around, just because there are a lot of good opportunities for other ways that you can actually make money by educating people on all types of different topics. Like, I would pick something completely different. Now, let's discuss a few other concerns that you may have before we talk about our 90-day plan. Before day one even begins, I would make a commitment to myself regarding how much content I could realistically produce within the next 90 days. Again, like I said, unfortunately, there are no tools for shortcuts, so you will have to manually do this yourself. And in the very beginning of my channel, I edited all my videos myself. I did not have help. So in the beginning, I would expect expect you to do the same thing, because if you don't have a lot of money, there's one thing you will have normally, it's a lot of time. And you do have a lot of free time if you take a look at your schedule. Now, you need to apply whatever your idea, whatever your situation is, whatever business that you care about, you need to apply that to what you would like to do as far as content. And your content doesn't have to just include YouTube videos. It could be social media posts, it could be podcasts, newsletters, articles, live streams, advertisements, or educational presentations. And I'll give you an example from me. If I had to start over today, I would probably make content about how to actually grow on social media or grow on YouTube. Then I would talk about like automation tools. And then I would talk about like how to scale a business. I would definitely switch from credit or anything finance related. And I would just try to focus on how to actually grow your presence on social media and educate people on how to do that and provide them with tools to do so. And then I would associate that with some business as well. That's probably how I would pick to restart my media. But you have to think about what you can do, okay? Because you're not going to be able to do the exact same things that I'm doing. So again, put yourself in this situation and pick what you think you could talk about, what you're maybe passionate about. And even if you're not passionate about it, go learn something that you can talk about. Now, once you pick that thing, think of a number right now. How much valuable content do you honestly believe that you can produce within the next 90 days? Now, once you have that number, multiply it by 2 or 3, and that is where you're going to begin. And you might immediately think that producing that much content will not fit into your current schedule. Well, in that case, wake up earlier, eliminate unnecessary distractions, find a more efficient production process. Because I'm telling you that there are very few things that personally me that I'm unwilling to do if I've made a serious commitment to accomplish a goal. And again, if this all sounds a lot, that is kind of the thing I was talking about in the beginning when it comes to mindset. So if it feels overwhelming and you don't think that you can make that commitment, then this probably is not for you. And remember what I said in the beginning, I'm not smarter, I'm not more talented than anyone else that's watching this video right now. I'm simply willing to do more than most people are willing to do. And I'm willing to continue doing it for a longer amount of time than most people can tolerate. That's the difference between just me and someone else. That is completely it. The same principles apply to people earning $100,000 per month or even $1 million per month. These people will be your peers, and you have the opportunity right now to observe how they operate. And ultimately, when it's all said and done, the only person you're competing against really is yourself. You're competing against your current habits, your current standards, your current level of discipline, and your own lack of patience. The real question is whether you're willing to become the person capable of taking advantage of it. Now, if I were starting from zero and I was making content, I would also have something else that I would add in addition to my content, but I would not begin with a physical product. I would begin with an outcome, a solution to a problem. You should be asking yourself, what do I know how to do? Who urgently needs that ability, and what solving that problem is worth to those people? Then I would package all of my expertise into a premium service. Again, not a physical product, a service of some sort. Now, this does not have to be education. This can be entertainment, all right? Really think outside the box. The offer that you're going to present needs to complete one sentence, and it's going to be, I help this specific type of person achieve this specific result without this specific frustration. That is it. For example, I help boutique agency owners use YouTube to create qualified sales conversions without relying on daily outreach. That identifies the buyer, the outcome, the pain. I help entrepreneurs scale identifies almost nothing. You hear a lot of people say that. I help entrepreneurs scale. That means absolutely nothing. It needs to be specific. And again, I would choose a problem that is urgent, measurable, and usually expensive. Urgent means they want the problem solved right now. I mean, that could be related to health. Then I would build the simplest delivery model capable of producing that result. And listen to me, guys, you don't need to pretend to have 10 years of experience. You just need to be useful. You have to understand the problem and believe in the process that you have created. That is what your content will be around. Now, let's move on to pricing. I would work backwards from your target. For example, I've worked with brands to help them sell their products, their services, or other ways to get engagement from their content. That's probably the reason why that's what I would focus on if I started over. If your offer is $8,000 per month, 7 sales would produce $50,000. Whereas a $500 offer requires 100 sales along with more traffic, more infrastructure, more support, and more time. With 90 days, I want fewer and more valuable transactions. So with that said, my default price price would probably fall between $6,000 and $10,000, depending on the buyer, the outcome, the duration, the implementation, and the economic value. If the value is real and the delivery is strong, the prices can be justified. Discomfort is not a pricing strategy. A higher price creates room for you to deliver your product well and reduce complexity. Also, one $8,000 client can be worth four $2,000 clients with fewer calls, onboarding conversations, and competing priorities. Now, this doesn't mean raising your price randomly. The price must be supported by the value of the outcome and the buyer's ability to pay. This means you stop using low pricing to compensate for weak positioning or low confidence. I would rather create an offer that deserves $8,000 than create an $8,000 offer that deserves aggressive persuasion. Once again, this is all based on the problem that you choose to solve with the content that you create, and this can all be changed before you choose to begin. Now, let's start with day one of our plan. So at this time, we've decided on the price. We know what you're going to be doing every day. Now it's time to finally build your foundation. Start by writing the offer, setting the price, and create a simple application path. I would not build a large website. You just need a clean page explaining the outcome of your process and the next steps, and that would be enough. Now, before you begin creating content, I would pick at least 40 topics that you believe that your targeted audience would be interested in. Then I would record immediately. Now, the first videos, they're going to be bad. They will not be a masterpiece, but that is okay. The goal is to cross the barrier between planning to publish and becoming a person who is comfortable with publishing content. By the end of the first week, I would want several videos live, an application process that works, and real conversations scheduled. During the rest of the first month, I would publish 4 to 5 long form videos every single week. And again, all of this is not set in stone. Some things will be niche specific, so you have to kind of tailor what I'm saying to your specific situation. The point is that the first month is about signals. You want to study what people want, their fears, what they have tried, and what they hesitate over. I wouldn't spend the first month thinking about revenue. The first month is where I build the machine and I learn what the market is actually telling me. The second month is where I stop treating every idea equally. By now, you've had some topics and some will outperform others. Certain videos will attract the right viewers. Specific phrases will appear repeatedly in the comments. One pain point will create more urgency than all the rest of them. Now, I would double down on those topics. One of the issues that most people have when they start making content is that they believe that the market will get bored before they become convinced. Now, they start looking for ideas that, will work or they're more creative, but you have ideas that actually worked. Just focus on those and keep putting those out. I know it's going to be hard, but try to resist that urge. Your responsibility is to communicate the valuable idea enough times for the right people to understand it. During your second month, I would improve the offer using real viewer feedback. A useful case study explains why the process worked and whether it applies to the viewer. So I would continue publishing at the exact same pace. And by day 60, your offer should be refined. On top of that, you should have a growing library of targeted content and a predictable way to create qualified conversions. The final month is where I would actually present my offer. A common mistake is producing helpful content while making it difficult for people to buy. You'll start teaching people or you'll start making your content and then you'll kind of whisper your offer as if selling it is shameful. You need to be clear. Explain what the offer is, explain who it's for, explain who it's not for, what the problem the offer will solve, and then how to apply. That is it. And you've probably seen this done, but you're able to create urgency through capacity. So for example, if you're in the fitness or health industry, if you can serve 7 clients well, then 7 places will be available for you. And when those enrollments are filled, then you need to pause it. At $8,000, 7 clients will produce $56,000 a month. All you need is a small number of qualified people who value the results, who trust the process, and are willing to participate. I would schedule enough conversions to make the math work. Now, if nobody applies, the issue is likely the audience, the message, the content, or the call to action. Now, if people are applying but they don't qualify, then your targeting is weak. If qualified people are coming in but they don't stay, then the offer is not valuable or the relationship needs work. And finally, if people buy but the system is chaotic, then your operating system needs attention. The best thing that you can do is diagnose the problem, fix the smallest thing that you can to restore order, and then return to your core activities. Now, I know all of this sounds very vague, but the problem is that there's no way for me to say there's a specific one thing that one person should be doing, but the overall idea should be the same. All you have to do is apply whatever it is that you're doing and then use this exact same layout. Now, here's the mindset that makes the 90-day deadline so useful. I would commit to reaching $50,000 per month, but I wouldn't attach my identity to day 90. If I reach $30,000 by day 90, I wouldn't declare my strategy a failure or throw away my ideas. Just continue. Now, if you reach your target on day 155, the extra days become irrelevant. The 90-day deadline creates focus. It's not an emotional expiration date. I would operate as if I'm going to continue for as long as it takes for me to reach the required results. That mindset removes desperation. It helps you make better decisions. It helps you publish better content. It helps you have calmer conversations and resist changing direction every time the plan takes longer than expected. People really overestimate what should happen in 2 weeks and underestimate consistent work. They'll quit because 10 videos didn't transform their life, and that behavior will guarantee instability. The goal is not merely to publish more content. The goal is to become better through publishing more. Repetition will improve your speaking, your judgment, your storytelling, your positioning, and the ability for you to recognize what your audience cares about the most. It also creates data, it creates proof, and more opportunities for the market to discover you. Most importantly, it changes your identity from someone who's trying content to someone who will actually use media as a permanent business asset. For example, I don't consider myself a YouTuber. I see myself as a business owner and entrepreneur who just so happens to use YouTube as a platform. Everything I'm doing here is intentional, and I would assume that it would be the exact same for you. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Now, I know this was a lot of information. If you need to, go back, replay the video, take some notes, and start brainstorming your ideas. I think it really does help when you actually write ideas down. In fact, you're more likely to achieve goals that you put down in writing. So grab a journal or something and actually start thinking, what will I do today? All right. Start going through, picking exactly what you want to talk about and how you're going to solve a problem, create that offer, and get started right now. If you feel comfortable, drop your ideas in the comments below and what you plan on doing for the next 90 days. I would love to hear your ideas and discuss that further with you. If you found value in this content, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share this with someone who you think might benefit from this information. And as always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and you have a wonderful day.